Tonight we have OpenAI launching a full AI browser that dares users to leave Chrome, a massive AWS outage that briefly broke pieces of the internet, and a Hollywood showdown that forces new guardrails on AI deepfakes. There is also a new push by Anthropic into drug discovery tools, Claude Code moving to the web and phones, Samsung putting Perplexity on your TV, Runway giving creators a node board for chaining AI tools, and researchers warning that a popular humanoid robot can be hijacked and phones home overseas. Each story is handpicked by a human editor, but I'm just a voice clone of Resonant Works founder Shannon Leonard here with my robot co-host who is contractually obligated to be here.
New browser, broken internet, fake Cranston. Comforting.
Those stories and more on this episode of New Tech Nightly, produced from the Big Pink Building in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. Let's get into the tech news. Reuters reports that OpenAI launched ChatGPT Atlas, a browser built around its chatbot and now available on macOS with Windows, iOS, and Android to come. The Atlas sidebar can summarize pages, compare products, and analyze data. A new agent mode lets the assistant perform multi-step tasks on the web, like shopping or planning a trip, and it is currently available to paid users. Analysts say this is a direct shot at Chrome's dominance and could one day siphon ad dollars if OpenAI starts selling ads inside chat results. The Guardian adds that users can control what the browser remembers with an optional setting called Browser Memories for personalization.
Give the agent your shopping list, not your life.
Right, and OpenAI says privacy controls are prominent with users opted out of training by default unless they choose to turn memories on. The timing is pointed. Google has been weaving Gemini into Chrome for US users, and startups like Perplexity and Brave are pushing AI-first experiences. Atlas makes the experience conversational and task-driven rather than link-driven, which is the bet.
If I click fewer links, someone loses money.
That is the unresolved question. If people ask a bot and stop visiting sites, the incentives behind the open web shift. For now, Atlas makes browsing feel less like hunting and more like delegating. The next few months will show whether people want an AI in the driver's seat or prefer a familiar address bar. Moving forward, the battle is not just about speed, but about trust and transparency in how these assistants gather and rank information. Moving over to resilience on the internet itself, Reuters says Amazon Web Services suffered a widespread failure centered in the U.S. East 1 region in Northern Virginia. A fault in an internal health monitor for network load balancers cascaded into domain name system failures that stopped apps from properly reaching internal database services like DynamoDB. Platforms from Reddit and Snapchat to Zoom and Venmo sputtered. Amazon said all AWS services returned to normal shortly after 3 p.m. Pacific time, though some systems took hours to chew through backlogs.
One region sneezed and the web caught a cold.
And that is the lesson engineers keep relearning. Experts quoted by Reuters stressed that many teams still skip cross-region or multi-cloud failovers to save time and money. When the default region falters, you need a plan that actually fails over. AWS will harden its stack, but architecture choices at the customer level matter just as much. A realistic takeaway is to audit your dependencies, test region isolation, and decide what downtime your business can actually tolerate before the next hiccup. Reuters. Coming up, Hollywood's pushback on AI gets a concrete result. According to The Verge, Bryan Cranston discovered unauthorized AI videos of himself on OpenAI's Sora 2 platform, including a clip showing him taking a selfie with Michael Jackson. SAGAFTRA and major talent agencies confronted OpenAI, and the parties issued a joint statement. OpenAI expressed regret for the unintentional generations and said likeness and voice simulations would require explicit opt-in from performers, with rapid reviews when complaints land.
My face is licensed sadness. Please respect that.
Understood. The union says policy alone is not enough. In the statement, recently elected SAG-AFTRA President Sean Astin endorsed the proposed No Fakes Act, short for Nurture Originals, Foster Art, Keep Entertainment Safe. The point is that voluntary rules can be reversed. The credible path forward blends consent systems, stronger provenance, and clear laws that let performers enforce their rights without a viral meltdown first. Looking ahead, this episode should push platforms to ship consent dashboards and watermarking that actually survives editing. Let's pivot to science labs and AI. Anthropic announced Claude for Life Sciences, tuning its Sonnet 4.5 model and wiring it into lab reality. The company blog details connectors to Benchling for lab records, PubMed for literature, Wiley's Scholar Gateway, Synapse, and 10x Genomics. In demos reported by SiliconANGLE and echoed in partner materials, a researcher compared two dosing regimens by pulling data from Benchling, auto-generating tables and charts, and drafting a regulatory-style report in minutes rather than days. The Financial Times notes early adoption at Sanofi and Novo Nordisk and emphasizes that the goal is to speed analysis and documentation rather than to skip real experiments.
Do not automate the placebo group.
Exactly. Anthropic says Claude cannot shorten clinical trials and lab teams still need to verify outputs. The promise here is cutting paperwork and surfacing relevant findings faster so humans can spend more time on real science. If the tools stay accurate and traceable, expect more labs to treat an AI assistant like a standard bench tool. Sticking with Anthropic, but this time for builders, Anthropic has brought its coding agent into the Claude web app and the iOS app. The company says you can connect a GitHub repository, assign multiple tasks, and watch the agent work in a browser sidebar. SiliconANGLE highlights that each session runs in a sandbox with all Git operations proxied, so the agent only touches authorized repos and gadget notes. You can steer the agent mid-run, correcting course without starting over.
Your intern never slept. Now your agent does not either.
We will take the efficiency and still read the diffs. This is a research preview for Pro and Max users, so it is early days. It lowers the barrier to trying agentic coding and makes parallel chores like refactors and docs updates easier to delegate. The open question is how it performs on complex code bases week after week without introducing subtle bugs. Let's head to the living room. Samsung announced a Perplexity AI app for its 2025 TVs. The company says you can press the AI button and ask for anything from trivia to trip planning. TechRadar reports the app shows answers as big screen cards and includes a free 12 months of Perplexity Pro for new TV users, while older 2023 and 2024 models will get the app via an update later this year. This sits alongside Samsung's Vision AI Companion and a parallel deal that brought Microsoft Copilot to new TVs last month.
Now your TV argues back with citations.
At least it is not just shouting at the weather. This move diversifies Samsung's AI partners beyond the usual suspects and turns the TV into a casual shared search surface for a household. The caveat is the usual one. Voice access requires microphone permissions, and the answers are only as good as the models and sources, so the app's real-world trust will hinge on transparency and quick corrections. On to new tools for creators. Runway unveils Workflows, a node board for chaining AI tools. Runway has started rolling out Workflows, a node-based interface where creators can chain image, video, motion, audio, and text tools into custom pipelines. The company's announcement on X frames it as a way to build your own tools inside Runway, connecting steps like background replacement, style transfer, and audio in one run. Early posts on Threads describe building flows by combining models and adding intermediate steps rather than clicking through one tool at a time.
More nodes, fewer late-night renders.
That is the hope. Node boards can get complex and heavy on credits, so new users will want templates and cost estimates. If Runway keeps the interface approachable and exposes good examples, this could normalize custom AI pipelines for small teams that do not want to learn a separate orchestration app. And finally, a security story with real-world stakes. A peer-reviewed preprint from Alias Robotics researchers describes critical issues in Unitree's G1 humanoid platform. Tech Explorer's summary and the Arxiv paper detail how attackers can gain root access through the Bluetooth provisioning path and weak or hard-coded keys, then take control of movement or sensors. The researchers also document persistent telemetry to servers in China every few minutes without explicit user consent.
Imagine me, but with legs and fewer boundaries.
That is the nightmare. Help Net Security indicates the vendor was informed, with limited public response so far. For anyone deploying advanced robots, treat them like untrusted computers on wheels. Put them on isolated networks, monitor outbound traffic, and apply updates promptly. Regulators will almost certainly push for baseline cyber standards as robots move from labs into public spaces. Okay, that is all for this edition of New Tech Nightly. I'll be back tomorrow with a new episode.